Okay. Um, so we'll just change the view. Okay, there we go. Perfect. Welcome, Destiny Faye. We're here today to cover a few different amazing adventures that you've had most recently in regards to Dakota Pipeline. Most of all, I just wanted to ask, how was your experience when you first went to Dakota, and how did that kind of progress for you?
Okay, yeah, thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure. I'm just going to wait a moment. Can you hear
No
me?
worries. Go with the flow.
Can you hear
uh, just a little bit.
Sorry,
Right.
can you, is it any chance that you guys can just be a little bit quieter?
3 rooms or a cabin?
Sherry, any chance?
No, we can't. We're going to be talking. I got to go on the phone soon.
Okay.
I'm going to be talking in here.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll see if it works if I go outside because they're going to be talking a lot in here.
No worries. That's okay. It's understandable. Okay, we're back. Just to just briefly recount the experience that you had going to Dakota Pipeline, and what kind of emotion and feeling that you got from that personally, energetically, and whatever came to you, or like organically when it comes to the protests and everything.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for having me here today. The initial experience was quite phenomenal. I arrived at about 1 a.m. and I didn't really have a place to organize to stay. So I ended up sleeping in one of the kitchen tents, which was funny. And then was woken up by some chanting around the sacred fire. So I ended up walking to see what was happening, and they were doing some speaks and doing some prayer ceremonies around the fire. And the particular day that I arrived, they didn't have like a protest action per se. They were organizing to open up one of the roads through the town that had been blocked off with a blockade to prevent the construction workers from coming through and working on the pipeline. So there was some police that were there, and they were ending up going to do like a prayer ceremony. And they had a bunch of different Native women doing a special sacred blessing healing dance that were there. So I got to participate in that, and it was so phenomenal. There was so many people that were there. There was film crews on the side. The land itself is quite phenomenal and amazing. And the energy was just profound. I was doing a lot of healing work on the earth while I was there, and just holding space, holding a place of peace. A lot of the time I was sending out energy energetically to all of the workers for them to, I guess, have some reform of what they were doing, because to them, I guess, it's just doing their job, so they don't necessarily understand the damage that it can be doing to the water and all of the people that are going to be drinking the water and consuming the water. To see the women dancing was a really phenomenal experience. Usually they wouldn't allow people to record, but they made a special decision to allow people to record it to share. It's usually something that the natives do in sacred locations, and it's part of their tradition. And because of the phenomenal impact that this has had all over the world and all of the support that they were receiving, they really wanted to be able to share this with more people. So I was able to get some footage of the healing dances, and one of the elder women there had shared the story about how she got her healing dress and about how the dress chooses them. And then there was a lot of drumming and ceremonial stuff. There was a couple of chiefs that were there who were doing a few speeches afterwards. I made some amazing connections with some soul family who I ended up traveling with several weeks to a month after leaving the pipeline. And the experience was, for me, I just felt this overwhelming gratitude for being there and being able to see that it was kind of this pinnacle point of unity for the earth. I kind of just had this overwhelming feeling of this is just the beginning of what we're going to be seeing. If people from all over the world have come to this location to help the natives and to help the water and Mother Earth, it was just so profoundly amazing. And I'm so grateful to everybody who was there and everybody who sent their love. I had a lot of people who had given me their blessings to take with me. I had a lot of my ancestors from my Native American life who had come with me. One of my spirit guides is actually a Native American chief. So for me, I knew that it was really integral for me to take all of the energy that I had there, even if it was just to be present. And I got some footage for a documentary that I'm going to be putting together so people can see the good side of what's happening there and the power that's being created there at the moment. Even if you see there are some things that are happening that are quite sad to see from the other side in the fight to have the pipeline go through. But from the ground level, there was still so much peace and unity that I was able to see throughout people from all over the world. And I feel having that energetically there is something that is really powerful and transformational. A lot of the people that I interviewed about their experiences there had similar experiences. Some of them had only been there a few weeks, and they said just being there, even if they weren't involved in any actions, was such a transformational experience. Some of the people that I had the honor of interviewing had only been there for a day, and they said that they felt like it was home. They'd just been there for a single day and they had to leave because of prior commitments and wanted to come back again. But just the capacity of love and interaction between all people all over the world and care for nature and for Mother Earth was just phenomenal. I was privileged to share some of my poetry around the sacred fire. I was able to see some Kiwis from New Zealand do the haka, and people sing their traditional songs, dances around the sacred fire. And that for me nearly brought me to tears. It was just such a huge, I guess, relief and also just fulfillment of knowing that there is so many people who care so much to be there and to do everything they can to support Mother Earth and also to help support the natives of the land too.
Yeah, it's actually absolutely amazing to see even the New Zealanders going there and supporting the movement and the energy that was being carried there to really get things going. I mean, everyone was, I think, contributing the way they could do. Whether you're in Australia, in a small town or a city or whatever, I actually took the liberty of spending a whole night doing earth healing from where I am, and just using let's call it a catalyst to kind of open up the portals, the energies, and connect with Mother Earth and really feel that in my heart space, feeling it pulling me down into the core. And it was profound. I did, unlike some people, when they're under the influence of alcohol, for example, they post silly things on Facebook. For me, it was a message of really heart-centered, spaced kind of energy, and sharing a few posts on Facebook during that time, that night. And it was absolutely amazing. And then I think it was days later hearing news that it was supposedly stopped or slowed down, the pipeline was, which was good news. But most recently it was a bit disheartening with Donald Trump apparently signing some papers saying that the pipeline was going to go ahead. They were going to try to construct it, and I was like, oh, this is just shocking, terrible. So I'm not sure if you came across that on Facebook with what he did most recently, and what do you think about that?
I have seen the same information, and I'm not going to dispute or comment on whether it's true or not. If it's really then it's most likely true, because a lot of that type of stuff does get released. From my own perspective, I don't think that it really necessarily stops the potential of the need for love, support, presence, and donations going there, especially to the Oseti Sikwan tribe. Because they're the main camp there, and there are a lot of camps that are there that have received funds for construction and creating sustainable communities, which is amazing. But the camp that's been there from the beginning with all of the natives of the Dakota lands is actually the Seti Sikwan camp, the Oseti Sikwan camp. And they do really need support of people. They do really need support of prayers. And I feel like that is the most powerful thing. I had some experiences over Christmas and New Year's at specific locations where I was around a lot of dense 3D energy and a lot of man-made constructs, and I guess things to keep a lot of control in place. And I really felt that I was like guided to be in certain locations, and felt within my power to know that some of those things weren't necessarily going to prevent me from doing what it was I was here to do, guided by spirit. And as I connected to that, knowing the 3D construct that was apparently there to control, even though on the outside it appeared to still be in place, as I held strong to the power and the knowingness of what the potential of spirit is, and all of the love that's growing on the earth, and all of the stuff that's coming together with the new earth and the new vibrations, it just vanished. So I really request for people to hold true within their heart the faith that things are moving forward. And although it seems on the surface things are purging and maybe getting a little bit more seemingly desperate or something to be afraid, just come back to love and come back to that faith of knowingness that there are amazing people in the world, and the energy that we are channeling and holding is really important for what we are wanting to create. And we are co-creators, regardless of what being purged outside of us. We do have that power within us to hold the vibration of what it is we're wanting to see, rather than just allowing the outside world to really affect what vibration we hold. I don't buy too much into the politics, even though that's there, because for me, I don't feel like it's an energy that I'm wanting to hold within me. A lot of the time it creates fear, and I prefer to be in a state of love. So I bless whatever is happening, and then I just come back to my own presence of creating what it is that I'm wanting to see in the world within myself, embodying that, and then being able to go out and create that wherever I go.
Yeah, definitely. It's I think most of us don't really buy into that construct of politics, and where we're going, it's kind of like you have to kind of solidify your sovereign self, your sovereign being, and your power in a consistent basis, without feeling like you're trying to force it. So when you're really connecting with both the land that you're standing on and also the cosmic energies, you're well centered and calm and kind of zenned out, as people say to me, and able to kind of observe and act accordingly within yourself and naturally. So yeah, just having good time and a good experience with everything that you're going through. But how long did you actually stay there at Dakota when you were there?
Unfortunately, I left sooner than I thought I would be there. So I was there for about a week, and I was actually surprised with all of the donations that people had given. A lot of the time there was people who had set up places where they had people come and volunteer to create food to provide for everybody, and there was like tents and sleeping bags and clothing. I didn't have a warm enough jacket when I arrived, so I ended up getting given from donations a warmer jacket and some gloves. But the experience for me, I feel I was guided there specifically to take my energy, to see the experience. There was particular people that I met that were extremely important for my journey and all of the other projects that Spirit's inviting me to work on. So I made some amazing connections with some way showers of, I guess you could say, the next wave of how we can work with social media, how we can interact with each other online, how we can have communities. A few of the people I connected with, they're part of the ASC, the Awakening Sovereignty Collective, and they're doing some amazing work. I became an ambassador with them through some of my own Unity projects, and it was something that I feel was really imperative. There's a few people that I since met who are a massive part of my journey, and I guess massive soul contracts that were actually present there at the same time that I didn't necessarily cross paths with until, you know, like weeks and weeks later. So I feel like it was a catalyst for so many people being able to interact and connect with their soul family, and to be able to learn and understand the native traditions, because the natives have a lot of wisdom and knowledge, and it doesn't matter which country you're in, whatever natives, they have like the sacred knowings, the respect for the land, the respect for their elders, the respect for their ancestry lines. And that's really important to even just be around, to be able to see. There was a lot of sweat lodges that they had at multiple locations, and something really positive that's also happening is, like I mentioned before, there's some other camps that are there that are further away from the main camp, and there are people there who have had a lot of donations that have created a school. They've started creating a sustainable community. They have like a media center. So it's going to be like a hub and a catalyst for having, I guess, more sustainable living, in a way to combat whatever negative energy appears to be there. And as you arrive at the main camp, it's so profound to be able to see all of the flags lined up along the driveway, because there's literally hundreds of flags from countries all over the world of people bringing their support and love. And I feel on my journey that was really integral. I really felt like I had offloaded a bunch of like good vibes and energy and prayers when I was there. And ever since I've left, I've intermittently been sending prayers to the water. I've been saying one of the native terms, which is Miniwachoni, which means water is life. And that's something that I regularly say. I've been blessing my water before I drink it a lot more. I've been having a deeper connection with the water. So it's impacted me in such a profound way. And I will be going back. I'm planning to be going back some point in March when it's not as cold, because I don't have some of the things that are necessary to keep yourself safe in the really cold conditions, because I didn't necessarily know that I was going to be staying in those type of conditions, or that there'd be a lot of you could say like snowstorms and things like that occurring. And they had a lot of people who were there that just didn't come prepared, and they don't have the resources currently to provide for everybody in those conditions. There have been people, even that just live in the town, that aren't even part of the camp, that due to those weather conditions have had illnesses and deaths because they weren't necessarily prepared. And it's not an easy place to be with that weather. So as soon as it starts to warm up again, I've got a group of people who I know who are still there, who have a place for me, and who I will be going back with some other people I know who are also going back as well. They'll continue to need help no matter what happens, whether the pipeline goes through or not. There will be people there, there will be community there, and they will be needing donations and support and people presence, all going through, especially going through to March. If there is a good enough energy and a good enough vibe, I believe that the love will trump hate and will trump the negative things that are happening. We have a lot of power within us, and I believe that can achieve anything. Love will be able to prevail. It doesn't matter what it seems like on the outside. I know that this is something that as we come together, even if we're, it doesn't matter what country we're in, if we come together in unity and love within ourselves and then sharing that externally, we will be able to achieve anything that it is that we're desired collectively, because that is what's going to create the reality that we're in. As we collectively come to that place of unity and of love and of our co-creative authentic power, that is where things will start to create a tipping point, and it will dramatically shift. And I've already seen that happening, especially just the presence of the people that are at Standing Rock. And I'm so grateful and honored for those that are still there now, and those that have been there through the really challenging weather that they've had.
Yeah. When you're talking about reaching a tipping point, it reminded me of a discussion that I came across, and it is very much vital to come together as much as possible, where the reality can get shifted into that vibrational frequency for the anchoring of the better result that we desire within a heart-based kind of construct. And it's definitely something that's happening more and more as we get to pivotal kind of points in transitions with the energies and shifts going, and the energies that are coming in from the cosmic core of the universe itself. Seeing people having to either face their personal demons or the people that have done so, and we're seeing a lot of those people that have dealt with the personal demons uplift, really increasing their light, but also getting more attention from the people that are prepared to move forward along with each other collectively. And like they say, at first you are the student and you learn as a student, and then when you become the teacher, you reach your hand back and grab onto the other students behind you, so you can kind of step up together. And that energy, especially for a certain soul family, becomes very intense and very powerful when it comes together. Like you mentioned with soul family, that energy builds up and creates that field. So whoever comes into that field of energy gets triggered and transformed into the more pure, more original self, and learns from being around you. So you're holding that frequency, and everyone else is holding that frequency just by being there. And it's definitely a magical experience to go through. As I myself experienced in New Year's Eve with going to a space in Bendalong, down south in Nara, near the water, near the forest, and a fire in the middle, like a point of purification and activation, and going around that and moving your hand around like a wizard, pretty much, and then all those energies kind of going through and creating that field, but also learning to kind of balance the darker energies that come in out of curiosity, not to attack necessarily, but it's a balance between the light and the dark that comes in for that experience. But anyway, going from that, how was your experience with going to Mount Shasta?
Well,
Tell me
that's
about that.
related to New Year's. So I was actually thinking of that when you were talking about New Year's. I had some pretty profound experiences beyond what I had thought, that were quite phenomenal, and you could say even life-changing for me. I've been talking a lot through my social media network about the new earth, and there has been quite a lot of, for some people, backlash where they see the contrast in where they're like, no, the earth is getting worse, not better. And one of the reasons why I'm so confident about New Earth being here now and everything just coming into play as we shed the old and allow ourselves to see what is present and what is happening is because of some of the experiences that I had on New Year's and after New Year's. To give a little bit of a backstory on Shasta, if you're not too well aware, apart from it being like a chakra portal, Mount Shasta was connected to the ancient city of Lemuria, and there is actually a tunnel to Hawaii, and that was also the leftover remnants of Lemuria. So there is a lot of spiritual people there, spiritual spiritual energy, sorry, and there is a lot of people who have claimed to have sightings of both Lemurians and beings from the under earth of Agartha. So the energies are quite profound, and I discovered through being there that one of my previous incarnations was actually being a meditation master on Mount Shasta. So it seemed relevant for me to be there for New Year's. It wasn't something that I had preempted. It just all fell into place, and it made perfect sense. I'm going to be going to Hawaii tomorrow, and that's also very related, like I said, to Lemuria. I did feel like when I was going to Shasta, I was supposed to be in Hawaii for New Year's, but as I'm going to be there tomorrow, I'll be there for the Chinese New Year's, so I will actually be there for New Year's. For me, the energy was really profound, like just being sensitive to energy, but on a whole new level, my meditations and my channelings had skyrocketed. The second day I was in Shasta, I channeled a drawing that was nothing like any of my other artwork. A lot of people said it looked very similar to light language or a lot of Teal Swan's work. So I haven't actually seen any of her work, but I'm really curious to look into it because they said it reminded them of her work. And on New Year's, I was fortunate to be invited to a little spiritual gathering with a few people who I had met and people that I hadn't, and it was a potluck, and they had a releasing ceremony, and they had people come together and do soul gazing and sharing love and creating this profound connection. I actually left early because I was guided, strongly, intuitively guided to go up the mountain. I didn't know why. I just felt like I was being told and guided to go up the mountain, so I trusted that. But previous to this, I sat down and went into a little bit of a meditative state, and the experience that I had, which I'd never had in meditation before, was I felt connected to all of my quantum selves, or quite a few of my quantum selves that were situated at different sacred locations and portals all over the earth.
Mm-hmm.
I had not been told anything about this. I did not really have an understanding of even doing this previously, or that I was even capable of doing this. And it was like simultaneously I was almost in all of my quantum selves at once, knowing where they were situated. I felt my chakras come in like a pillar connection to all of the different main chakras of my quantum selves to create like a rainbow bridge. And I felt that energy grounding into Gaia. I also felt certain spirit guides who I was aware were with me. I felt certain archangels and ascended masters that were with me, helping and guiding me. And for quite some time, I don't even know how long it was, I was just being a channel, holding that energy. I've been a channel for higher frequencies grounding into the earth before, and I know a lot of the time it's why I'm taken to certain locations to just be that bridge and that channel, but it had never been like that before, and I feel like it was fully amplified by being in that location and almost activating some of those memories from that lifetime that I had previously been living in Mount Shasta. It was quite phenomenal, to say the least. And then the following days after that, I had some more intense, profound meditations. Later on that evening, before the clock struck over to the new year, I was on the mountain with one of my twin flames. I actually had met my third twin flame, who is a very different type of a relationship to all of the previous twin flame connections that I had made. And he was not going to come with me, and then decided that he was going to come with me to go up the mountain. And 11:11, we were on the mountain strongly being guided. And then 12:12, we stopped at somewhere off the road. Our car couldn't continue up the road because we didn't have chains on our tires. And there was just like this little area to park in off the road, and we stood there in like a meditation. And one thing I did sense was a strong presence of Saint Germain. Previous to being led to Shasta, I had been strongly connected to Saint Germain and doing a lot of violet flame meditations and activations and transmutations. So that was something that I was very strongly connected to. And then there was stuff related to him everywhere. A lot of people at Mount Shasta seemed to have a connection to Saint Germain. And I felt his presence in my meditation, put the violet flame within my heart So that was something that I was really humbled by. And then I felt the presence of different galactic relatives. I know that I'm an ambassador for multiple different locations galactically, not just one. I do have a strong Palladian presence, but there is also a lot of Lyran and Andromeda that I have connection to. So I felt a lot of their presence around me, supporting me. I was told that in front of me there was like a false wall, like a mirror, that was actually blocking some of the other dimensionality. It was like a veil that was there, that the barrier was like thinned in that area, but it was like off the edge of the cliff. So I'd seen the veil, a rainbow bridge and a crystal castle, and there was certain galactic family that I had resonated to that were on the other side of the rainbow bridge, and I was ready to walk across, but I was guided to ask what my twin flame felt comfortable, and at the time he felt strongly guided by his guides that to get through it was to go within and not to physically have to go across. And perhaps neither of us were at that level where we were ready to cross over. I'm not too sure, but we both decided that that was the time. There was fireworks after 12. We remained there for a while. We looked around the area, sensing energetically whether or not we should attempt to walk off the edge of the cliff. And after he had got the guidance that we weren't supposed to, I said, okay, I trusted that. And we ended up sleeping in the car halfway up the mountain, listening to The Secret, and then woke up on the 1st of January and finished listening to the audio version of The Secret. So I felt really refreshed and renewed. I felt like I was in a whole nother vibration. I felt everything was fresh, and I could see even throughout the day on the 1st of January, I noticed subtle differences that I could feel all of the energies were integrating. And until, for me, I was able to release any illusion or thought constructs that kept me bound to the old vibrational frequencies of the earth, I wasn't going to be able to completely see and embody where it was currently at. So the next few days, that was really what I was attempting to do. We had car troubles, which for me was a sign we weren't supposed to leave. A lot of people say that if the mountain wants you there, it will not allow you to leave and you'll have car troubles. And if it doesn't want you there, it'll make sure you have car troubles before you get there. So I was really grateful to Mount Shasta and the transformational experiences that I had.
Mm-hmm.
And it just instilled this profound sense of knowing and trust of what is going to continue unfolding, and that the new earth energies and all the support we have for that are really present, and that the earth is really moving through that stage. And she still does need that support from us energetically, and also to just hold that space within ourselves for her too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that really sounds so exciting. It's just when you experience things like that, you just want to you really want to embody that and just carry that with you consistently, so you can kind of be that. The amount of energy that goes through you, and the visual kind of experience of living in your element, getting that glimpse of what is just in front of you. But what I just felt was like when you said that it's something that's going to integrate itself progressively, and I know, and I'm sure you do too, as well as other people, that you can't. It's not like we can't just put it all on ourselves straight away. It's kind of like putting layers of clothing on top to actually be well equipped, and to fully function properly. Otherwise, if you just throw it on straight on, it's going to overwhelm you, and you're going to probably go a bit crazy about it. But yeah, it's definitely going from New Year's Eve. It's you can take a few notes from that and have a little opening, so you can kind of go through and have that little connection, that line. line connection and kind of channel through the information more smoothly, and have a good time with that, and help you go through the experience more progressively and more organically with that force. So it's pretty cool. I just wanted to check what time you want to finish off, so we don't drag it too far. We can continue on doing a second interview if you like later on. But yeah, just checking with you because you have a meeting coming up.
Oh, I'm okay for now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not much time to prepare for that, so we still have a little bit of time.
Oh, okay, cool. What time is it on your side at the moment?
In Mexico at the moment, it's nearly 4 p.m. So it's 3:45 p.m.
3:45. Okay, cool. But yeah. Hmm? How about what else can we cover? I mean,
I can talk a little more about this summit coming up in my documentary if you'd like.
yeah, we can definitely cover that. So what is the summit about that you're doing?
So the summit that I'm creating with a couple of other people is called New Earth, New You Now. So it's about sharing information about the new earth, sharing information about personal development, spiritual development, health and well-being. So there'll be some amazing speakers over a 3-day period that are going to be having different categories and different periods of time. There'll be some times for them to be asked questions. It'll be like a video conference type of a situation. There will be, over the 3 days, a major speaker that will be speaking for longer throughout the middle of the day. And there will be like an open you could say chat happening for about an hour at the end of every conference call of the evening. So for about an hour, there'll be both speakers and also people who are attending being able to communicate about a specific topic. So a topic will be selected for each of the 3 days. So it will be very prominently about more integration of New Earth energy, a lot of New Earth projects, a lot of spiritual development, personal development, and how people can get both involved and aware of different events that will be happening throughout the year, and different ways that they can get involved. I've connected with quite profound people here in the States, and I know quite a lot of amazing people in Australia. I have a few contacts in some other countries who are doing some amazing work. I've got friends who are currently in Bali with the New Earth Nation team. There's just quite a lot of profound, I guess you could say, shifts in projects, both new projects and previous projects, for grounding the energies of New Earth, for creating more sustainable living, sustainable communities, eco-villages. There'll be a couple of interviews with some people about some of their major projects that will be happening both this year and in the coming years, to be able to ground that energy. So if you're somebody who's interested in personal development, spiritual development, either being a speaker and you have interest in New Earth or understandings of New Earth energies and New Earth blueprints. For me, a lot of what I've been receiving recently is that a lot of us have different blueprints for the New Earth, and there will be ways of being able to utilize them and connect. There's going to be a couple of physical events happening that will be spoken about on the conference calls as well, and sharing information about how people can get involved with both festivals, with sustainable communities, and all sorts of different things, from online New Age communities, New Earth communities, to offline, and all sorts of ways of creating your own eco-friendly, sustainable communities. So if you're interested in any of this, there will be, I guess, a link below with some more of the details, and that'll be happening. The first one will be happening on the 3rd of March, and there'll be some other events that will be happening in a few locations in Australia and America, physical, which is more about, I guess, collaborative visionaries being able to come together and being able to have even more support for each other in all of their projects, and help them to move along much quicker, even if it's getting funding. So anyone that's needing funding for some of their projects, there'll be major opportunities for funding through this as well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. One of the things I want to touch on as well, that's been a very crucial subject is being able to shield yourself from any interferences at this time, because there's it seems to be a lot of targeting going on in regards to the newer light workers coming in, and I've come in contact with a few people that have had psychic attacks, as they call it, for themselves, and I myself have had that happen to me around 3 years ago, and I was able to kind of deflect that and push it out within days, luckily. But for some people, it's they really get caught off guard, and gets attachments that kind of try to push them off track early on. So what I want to know, in your experience, what are some basic like visualization or words that you can use when you're in the meditation in your bedroom, for example?
I have quite a few tips, and some of them are also related to an experience that I had before I went traveling. I was very strongly attempted to be stopped from my travels, and from all of the things that I was supposed to be doing on my travels with the different projects that I had going on. So I had quite a lot of both psychic attacks, entity attachments at that time. I learned a lot both about myself through the experience, and a lot of the things that can attract. The first thing, if you haven't got them and you're wanting to prevent it, is make sure that you're conscious of your thoughts. So even if we're going through purging periods where we're releasing a lot of stuff emotionally, some of that purging is not necessarily even related to anything that we can perceive happening around us. It's just a purging and healing process. But if you're not being really aware of your thoughts, any negative thought constructs that you're continuing to focus on or give energy to, that becomes food for these entities. And if you're vibrating at a high enough frequency within yourself consistently, they won't actually be able to get to you. So even though we're in this position of working as light workers, and we are working in a lot of dark places, transmuting it, it's to be able to use your thoughts. So if you know a lot about alchemy was, they practiced on metal to turn it to gold as a practice on a physical level to learn how to transmute their mental thought processes into gold. And if you do follow any esoteric wisdom, one of the key foundations of esoteric wisdom is that everything in this reality, including physicality, is actually based on mental laws. So if you're not in alignment with your mental laws and your understanding of how you can actually consciously choose your thoughts, that's something that is going to attract them. I know I wasn't personally in the most supportive environment. I was doing a lot of work both on my inner child and my family relationships, and I'd put myself in an environment where I wasn't actually able to do a lot of my clearing processes with both sage, meditation, cutting cords with salt in the shower. There's quite a few different things that you can use to help clear your energy field. And when I wasn't able to do that and I was around a lot of negative energy, I'd allowed it to affect me mentally, and that it had taken me to this level that I had attracted that, as well, to prevent me from being able to continue moving on my journey and stepping into my sovereign power. Something else to keep in mind is, although there are still these entities that don't know better, who just want to feed to survive off our energy, there has been a lot of them that have been taken off this dimension that we have been supported with. And if you feel that you have one, use your command to say, no, you can't feed off me. Use your intuition of your different bodies to associate if one's attached. Often they can attach to the back, and often they do attach to your back because you don't necessarily have that sensation or feeling of them being there. One of the key things that I learned, that I knew that I had actually had an entity attached to me, and I was fortunate. I had a lot of friends who were able to sense it and also help me on a greater level get rid of it by distance healing and helping me to shift my own mental thoughts. was because I knew what my base thought process was. I knew that what I was usually at, even in challenging circumstances, and I noticed I was having thoughts input into my mind that weren't my own, beyond what I was allowing myself to do. And that's when I energetically knew. I felt less grounded, and then I knew that because I wasn't giving myself enough attention for both self-love practices and supporting me being in my power and my authentic self because of my environment, it was something that I needed to change. And for me, that was just a key example that I needed to start changing my environment, and I needed to be more consciously aware of my thought constructs because they were helping to create my reality. So if you feel that you do have one, first and foremost, I would, on your own level, become really aware of the thoughts that you are choosing. I would command that it leaves. I would call upon whatever ascended master or angel that you resonate to that's really close to you, or a spirit guide, to ask to take this entity back to source. This is some really great advice that I had been given along my journey. It's not necessarily something that we can send it back to source. We can request aid in taking it back to source. A lot of them have been so detached from source for so long that they actually fear going back to source, so they need to be taken back there. And there are still going to just be those that are leftover remnants that have been incarnate, that when they were here, they weren't necessarily abiding by the universal laws, and they weren't necessarily allowing themselves to ascend on a particular process, so they became disincarnate, and because of that fear, they refused to go back to source. So having love and compassion as well is really integral, knowing that it's not like they're wanting to attack you because they're wanting to attack you. They're necessarily feeding off you because they're wanting to survive, and they're stuck in that place of just survival. And if, for example, if there was an animal that was really hungry and it saw something and to them it was food and it went to eat it, even if it was attacking it as an animal, it doesn't come to their thought process that it's wrong or bad, because that's not how animals work. Not all animals are like that in the way of eating food, but that's the process of these entities. There are other things involved when it comes to attacks. I think some of the attacks that people would be receiving are most likely going to be from electronical devices, because since we changed from the analog to the digital, there are frequencies, especially microwave frequencies, that will lower people's vibrations and keep them stuck at a particular vibration where it's going to be affecting them on a mental level and a physical level. Being careful what you listen to, because you don't know what subliminal messages are in certain music. Being careful what you watch on TV. These are all the things that will influence you, not only on a physical level, but for what your mental constructs are going to be. So just being empowered and really conscious with your choices of food, eating as clean as possible, as natural as possible, and what you put in your mind as well, not just the physical food that you eat, but the people that you put yourself around, unless you're in an environment where you're helping that person. In the way of shielding, I recommend certain crystals are really great as like talismans on necklaces or rings. A lot of ones like shungite, onyx, and tourmaline, black tourmaline. These are amazing crystals for helping to deflect negative energy. Something else that's really amazing that I've been doing a lot, even to protect my body when I go to sleep and I go into the astral planes, is calling upon your energy field and your higher self and the ascended masters and angels to put a golden and crystalline casing cocoon around your body. And I also use the violet flame of transmutation, to have like that protection around my body while I leave my body and I go astral traveling, whether I'm lucid or not lucid. Because if we're astral traveling in the lower dimensions, then there are still sometimes those stray entities that are there, or if there is a stray entity around and you're not in your body when you're sleeping, then that may be when they attempt to latch on to feed off you, and then you may not be aware. So things like that, when you go to sleep and when you wake up, setting the intention that you are being protected, calling on, you know, those beings of peace, love, and light, and of unity and source to help protect you, calling upon your spirit guides for protection. And for me, that's been a really amazing thing. I regularly do clearing processes because it's really important for A, keeping my vibration, and B, the energy work that I do with people. So I regularly will use salt for cutting cords, doing cutting cord meditations, chakra balancing meditations, drinking a lot of clean water, blessing my food and my water, and just being really mindful of what I'm allowing to come into my reality. If you're a really sensitive soul, like quite a lot of us are, having a routine around these things just so you can keep at that level of balance and stability in the work that you're doing, I find to be really important. Grounding is also a really important thing, because we will feel tipped off balance, or we won't feel embodied to do the work we're here to do if we're not grounding. So sitting around nature as much as possible, going to the beach, going for a walk, having a meditation where you're sitting on earth, you're having your heart connect to Gaia and to source, and allowing that energy to come in you to feel grounded. Other ways to cleanse your auric field and your energy body is to go to the beach, go to natural water. The water is a beautiful healing element to be able to cleanse all of your etheric bodies and all of your energy bodies. And that's something that I do as much as I possibly can. I always know when I haven't done it for a while, because I can just I feel more lethargic, I feel more drained, I feel less balanced. As soon as I do that, I just feel more whole and complete. They would be the key things, particularly on that topic, that I would, I guess, stress and suggest to people. A lot of the influences that are affecting us, whether they be attacks or not, are things that we have permitted. Based on universal laws, nothing can attack you or harm you unless on some level, based on a choice you've made, you have permitted them. So when you're in your sovereign power, and when you're connected to your source inside you and your God consciousness, you know, and you remain in that state of love where you're at a vibration that something else is not going to be able to reach you. So any practice you can have to help get you to that level as consistently as possible will A, eliminate the ability to have you attacked, and B, prevent and help remove anything that may be attempting to attach to you or attack you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What if the person that's perhaps experiencing a bit of like ungroundedness lives within an environment that's surrounded by a little of concrete constructs? Like if you're someone that lives in Singapore or Hong Kong, in a busy place, for example, I know people that feel very much challenged by interacting and being around a lot of, let's say, if you're a student or whatever. How can you, for example, utilize your bedroom to kind of cleanse yourself and create a space of energetic protection with crystals and sage and Palo Santo, for example?
Yeah. So some of the strongest things I would suggest, I'll start first with those people who have very minimal to no resources. One would be candles, because being around that reminds you of the transmutational ability, and the elemental of the flame is quite powerful. Two, even if you can possibly even get a blue candle, the blue energy, which is connected to the throat chakra, is actually about cleansing and also about being authentic and having that balance. So if you can wear blue or have blue around you, or wear certain colors that you feel are going to help enliven and balance any chakras that you feel might be out of balance. Using sage and Palo Santo are amazing. I much prefer Palo Santo, but whatever you can get your hands on. If you have a ritual before showers or after showers where you can cleanse yourself, calling upon your guides, having meditations. I know that there is multitudes of meditations on YouTube. If you don't have the internet all the time, I know that there is a website called offliberty.com that you can download the MP3s of YouTube videos, and also the videos. There's some other websites as well. So quite often I'll just download them onto my phone, and then I'll listen to certain meditations. Even sometimes I listen to like audiobooks when I go to sleep at night, or particular things that I'm wanting to remember, like if I'm learning a different language. Having that is a really good resource. Being outside as much as you can, like even like if that's where you currently live, utilizing the ability to be outside, be in fresh air, use your breath. Something really essential to do is know that a lot of the time we're not using our breath effectively. Start a yoga practice. Use meditation where you're focusing on breathing, grounding, clearing yourself out, and stretching your body in a way that those energies are going to be really supportive and helping you. Some other colors would be really good, like purple, getting to those higher levels. From a grounding perspective, you're wanting to probably use even more colors like your reds and your browns and your oranges, because these are more your base chakra colors. Even wearing them or just having them around you. Creating a good feng shui is important. One of the most important things, I would say, have as many plants inside as you can, or if you have a picture, or have like a water fountain or a bowl of water with rocks in it with like a flower inside it, a vase of flowers, having as much nature inside as you possibly can, making sure that you're having a lot of water around you, and the different elements, as many of the external natural elements as you can have inside. Something else is using aromatherapies, there's all sorts of really top line great oils that you can use, both for, if they're food grade, taking them. There's different ones that work on different chakras, or diffusing them, putting them in an oil burner for a cheaper alternative. And those types of things help to change both your energy bodies and your mood. They help to change the feeling and the atmosphere. They're great for helping get you into a different state of conscious awareness. There are certain teas that I know that are really great. Chamomile is another way to get nature into you. That's great for calming, especially for your stomach. Things like ginger, great for digestion. I think that's good for grounding as well. So there's all sorts of different things that you can use in the way of teas, plants, natural things outside you, natural colors that you can have around you or that you can wear. Listening to music that's like waterfalls, or different things that just make you feel really grounded. Different forms of movement like dancing. I know that really gets your body moving. If you have a lot of fun dancing is a really great way for me to feel grounded, or walking around barefoot and putting your conscious awareness on the base of your feet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, fantastic. That's a nice plethora of information as we go forth in 2017. No matter where you are, no matter at what stage you are in your personal awakening, I think that information resonates with a lot of people, and it's just by speaking about these things right here, no matter what happens, we're radiating that into the light grid that's going across the planet at the moment, and has been since creation. And it's really exciting. Like I can feel the energy within my sacral and root chakra just shooting up, because it's creating that hope and that kind of motivation for getting out there and really enjoying the adventure and not making it a chore, and kind of putting it into perspective of not taking it as a consumeristic kind of thing, like it has to happen straight away for it to work, but enjoying the journey of doing what you need to do, and even if it's a small bit of the practice, just being mindful and being in that moment as it comes in to you, and then that will fully embody itself, and then that realization of, let's say, letting go of guilt and inner child kind of you know imbalances, where you don't have to worry about if it's sexual or whatever. Like some people are going through the subject of the innocence of the child, the energy, and associating it with a sexual context, when it's just a pure kind of expression of the self, the body that you're in, the experience of being human. You know what I mean? When you speak about that, it's just being yourself without attaching yourself to the 3D constructs, the thought forms that have been put in from your parents, that have been taught by the system, that any kind of thought of what is sexual or deemed sexual is bad at that stage in your kind of development, when it should be a constant daily thing, a natural thing to explore yourself, and say, yeah, that's great that you did that. Like, I'm proud of you. That is this, and this is how it works, and this is how it is, and it's natural, and not setting any limitations. So, yeah, very good, very exciting, and I'm really deeply appreciative of everything that you've shared today, especially with the last 20 minutes or so. And I know a lot of people that I keep it within my heart and in my thoughts, that will benefit from the information that we've shared and you've shared especially. So I look forward to any future discussions that we'll have, and especially when you get a chance to come over and you can finally have a special kind of get together and whatever else.
Yeah, well, I feel like there'll be some more interviews in the way of what you were just discussing, because it's both something that I've been researching a lot and very passionate about, the balancing the masculine and feminine, and then the healing on all the different levels of self.
Mm-hmm.
I've been doing both extensive research and been channeling a lot of information. I've been told that I'm going to be connecting a lot with Kuan Yin in order to do a lot of information into a book that I'm going to be writing called The Relationship Illusion. So I'm very excited about more learning and more information coming around that area of integrating and balancing the sexual energies, both the masculine and the feminine, how
Mm-hmm.
that's been balanced in the past. And I feel like that's something that would be a great topic to discuss and have an interview about in the not too distant future. But thank you so much. And thank you to all of you for watching as well. So much peace, love, and light to all of you.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, I wish the best in your travels, and I think being able to use this medium of expression will be very much very interactive, and I think something that we can utilize is things like Instagram, to do 1 minute or 30-second interactive videos, where you're walking and you're expressing something that's coming to you, or even doing short videos on YouTube with your mobile phone, would be very beneficial. And I think that's something that's coming into my space as well, that's kind of come up. So yeah,
expressing yourself, clearing your throat chakra.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I'm going to be writing an article and doing a video at a later date on getting your word out to encourage and give the foundations and tools for more people to feel comfortable in getting their word out, whether it be the written or the verbal word, because I do a lot of Facebook Live videos and I've been writing on my blog for quite some time, and I'm sure you've got the same questions from people constantly. What, you know, how do you get about writing a blog or writing a book or doing videos, and what's the process? So it's something that I'm really excited to be able to share with people, because it's so important right now for us to be able to express ourselves on a personal and creative level.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. So just to finish off, from me personally, thanks for everything that you do, and I hope that everyone has enjoyed watching this video. And if you have any other questions for Destiny Faye or myself, you can contact myself through my Facebook page, as well as I will provide links for your page on the description below that can be sorted later on. And yeah, definitely looking forward to future interviews in regards to how we can better go through the process without getting interfered with too much. Because it's both a learning curve to experience the darker energies, as well as being able to be in your light and in your space wherever you go. So take care, everybody, and talk to you soon.